Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl, Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully, you guys are doing very well, maybe recuperating from yesterday's festivities. Yeah, this is what happens when you just stay at home from now on. Well, today we're going to continue on as promised with factoring. But this time we're going to factor completely. So this is going to take a combination of what we learned with the GCF as well as possibly the AC method. So while you guys are coming on in, let's go ahead and tap. I'm only going to be on for the max an hour and 30 minutes. So if we can shoot up and get cracking, that'll be great. Hey Wyatt, it's the weekend. Yes, it is, Wyatt. Good job. Way to recognize that. I know, but some people have exams, some people have tests, because I got quite a few people that have to tutor tomorrow. So you tell me, remind them that it's the weekend. Hey Robert, how are you? Welcome on in, everyone, and go ahead and tap. Let's see if we can get up to our goal of 100K. I know it's crazy, but it's possible, because if we get 100 people in here and everyone taps 1,000 times, we can get our goal right there. Bada bing, bada boom. All right. So, or we can get close to it. All right, so go ahead and tap to a K, and then we'll do it. I'm doing. Been very productive like all day. Hey, Coach, how are you? Been very productive all day. So getting things ready for the course, getting things ready for notebooks, getting some other great things to get that ready for the upcoming school year, because we all have to work at least a season ahead. So for the summer, you should be working on the fall. In the fall, you should be working for winter. In the winter, you should be working for spring. In the spring, you should be working for summer. Actually, in the winter, you should be working for spring and summer at the same time. So that's where we are. All right, so again, completing the square. I'm just going to kind of get in here. And as we're going through, if you do like my notebooks, go ahead. I know I can't say it, but I can definitely point to it. Okay. So if you know, my recordings, all my recordings on my lives are here and here. And if you want to get any of my books, the math notebooks, the Audrey's notes, if you're not sure what those are, I'll let you know. And then coming soon, a math workbook. So hey, hold on to your horses, because Audrey's making a math notebook, like a workbook. But you can get them, order them here. I know there's another place that you can order them, but again, if you order it from here, and I just learned that we can't even spell this name in our chat, okay? But if you order from here, I basically get 50 cents per book. Okay. Right, from here, definitely get more than that. All right, so if we can order from the bookstore, that will be amazing. Okay. Oh, cool. Hello, God is good. Welcome on in. All right, so we are going to do what's called factor completely. So we're going to ask ourselves a few questions. So anytime they give you something that says factor, the first thing you should do is always check to see if you have a GCF, a greatest common factor. All right. So then after you check, if you have 3 terms, you can do the AC method, of which we did yesterday. Okay, if anything, you probably could also do the quadratic formula. And I know some people say, well, Audrey, we can do completing the square too. That is true as well. But I'm trying to think what will be quick, because if we're going to be taking a timed assessment, I really want to get something quick and dirty. All right. But if you do get 4 terms, so for 4 terms, you're going to do what's called grouping. And we're going to be relearning that in a moment. And like I said, when all else fails, you can go straight to the quadratic formula. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of take a look at the combination. So if I were to look at my first example, I'm going to see if I can zoom in a moment. So if I have 4y squared plus 12y minus 4. Notice there's no equal sign, okay? When there isn't an equal sign, that means you're simplifying. When there is an equal sign, that means you're solving. So that's how someone asked me in one of my sessions, how do I know which way is simplifying and which way is solving? Simplifying, you just have what's called an expression. When it doesn't have an equal sign, it's called an expression. But when it has an equal sign, it's called an equation. Okay? All right. Hello, Michael. All right. So let's break it down. First question. Do we have a GCF? Do we have a greatest common factor? That 4, 12, and 40. Don't worry about the negatives and the positives. Just the 4, the 12, and the 40. Do we have something in common? Ooh, me. I got a split personality. Me says GCF is 4. Okay. Sam, Michelle saying yes, 4. Marcy is saying, do it, lady. I'm trying. Coach is saying yes, 4. Jason saying 4. Brenda, hey, welcome back, saying 4. All right. So we're good. So our GCF is going to be the 4. Now, it's not going to be 4y because the 4 has y squared, the 12 has y, and the 40 does not. So it's just going to be our 4. So in order for you to figure out what goes inside the parenthesis, is you're going to take the original and you're going to divide by your GCF. So 4y squared divided by 4, that gives me 1y squared, or just simply y squared, because the 1 is assumed to be there. Positive 12y divided by 4. So a positive divided by a positive will give me a positive. 12 divided by 4 gives me 3. And I bring down the y. Negative 40 divided by 4, that gives me a negative 10. Okay. All right. So positive 3y and minus 10. There you go, Caitlin. And hello. All right. So this is the reason why it's called factor completely. Because inside this parenthesis can be broken down a step further. So yesterday we learned about AC method. So since my leading coefficient is 1, so if you want to, let me see if I can reach for this piece of paper right here. Okay, if you want to, for right now, the 4, we're going to ignore this 4 outside, and we're going to focus our attention inside this parenthesis. My highest degree is to the second power. Anytime you see something to the second power, that means it could be factored even more. We want to get our items to the first power. So if it's telling me to the second power, that means I'm going to have two different solutions, okay? Two different factors. So since my leading coefficient is 1, I can split my y's up. Okay, 1y in one parenthesis, 1y in the other parenthesis. Okay. So now we have to think. What two numbers, because we're going to multiply my a, which is 1, and the c, which is negative 10. And we're going to rewrite the b, which is my 3. So what two numbers multiply will give me negative 10 and add together to give me a positive 3? Okay. So winking, what's that? Skeever? The winking skeever? Okay. Said 5 and negative 2. Caitlin said 5 and negative 2. Okay, Leanne says negative 2 and positive 5. Is it Kobo? Says negative 5 and positive 2. So take a look. If I go negative 5 plus 2, does it give me a positive 3? Okay, coach saying 5 and negative 2. Okay, we're not adding them together. Lord servant. Okay, hey, good evening. All right, oh, we got some protection. What's going on with the comments? All right, negative 5 and 2, same thing. Is it faking? Okay, same thing. If you owe me $5 and then you paid me $2, you still owe me $3. So the 5 isn't going to be negative. Okay. You text me. When did you text me? If it was this afternoon, I was in church. Usually on Saturdays, I go to Mass. So I do not have my phone with me. Yep. Not on people's beck and call. Yesterday? You sure you text the right one? I didn't get a text. Yeah, I checked all my messages. I didn't get a message. Okay. All right. So it can't be negative 10 and 7 because negative 10 times 7 doesn't give me negative 10. Okay. Okay. So it has to be the negative 2. So 5 times negative 2 gives me negative 10. And 5 plus negative 2 gives me a positive 3. Okay. Oh, my TikTok? I haven't had a chance to check my TikTok at all. Okay. All right. So the two factors that we're looking for is a positive 5. So I'm going to put plus 5 here. And a minus 2. So I'm going to minus 2 here. Okay. Now, this is not our complete answer because we can't forget about our trifling butt friend. We all know the trifling friend. You know, the friend that wants to go somewhere but don't have money to go anywhere. The friend that wants you to drive around while they're trying to shoot their shots at women and just get shut down as they're yelling outside the passenger side. You know. Do I teach calculus? I do not. Calculus is not my jam. I probably could, but yeah, it's not my jam. But my friend Robert, he does. He's Robert, the AP guy. He does calculus. I think he's in here somewhere. I think that's you, Jason. Yeah. Yo, we should go out and get something to eat. No money. No money. Oh, we should go to the movies. No money. Sorry. Yes. No time for scrubs. of their best friends, right? Yeah, try to holler at you. Yep. Understand this as a child. Yes. So this is factored completely now that you brought the trifinance friend. Okay. All right, let's try another one. So keep on tapping. I'm going to try to do 2, and then I'm going to do my spiel, and then do another 2, and then do my spiel. I'm going to keep it in a nice little flow. All right, so if I have w to the third minus 10w squared plus 25w. Hey, Janice. Okay, all right. There you go. There's Robert. There he is. See, Robert? I told you. People are looking for you. They need your expertise. See? I don't lie to people. I really don't. A few fibbery here and there, but that's about it. All right. First thing. Bam. I don't have to say anything because Coach and Pog's already on it. Okay, so we do have a GCF. Yes, Caitlin as well. Okay, we do have a GCF. When you get a chance, can you check? Yes, but I'm not going to do it right now. It's going to be after the live. All right, so we do, if anything, what's in front of my w cubed is a 1. Okay, so we have 1, we have negative 10, and 25. The only thing that they have in common based off of their factors is 1. But there is 3 W's here, there's 2 W's here, there's 1 W there. So we have a GCF of the W. So if we pull that W out, what remains? Okay. Maylin, yes. Okay, so what remains? You're welcome. So if we pull the W out, what's going to be left inside the parenthesis? Okay, so let's get it down. So we got our W squared, because there's going to be 1 less of the W's since we pulled 1 out, minus my 10. We had 2 W's here, we pulled 1 out, so we have 1 W left. And then 25W, we pulled that W out, so we have 25 left. Okay, good. Bags and Banner, how are you? Okay, oh, the difference of 2 squares, okay. Because if we take a look, we're going to show it one of 2 ways, okay? If we want to kind of stick with the theme, just so I won't mix people up, if I multiply my A and my C, I get 25. Rewrite my B, which is a negative 10. Then we have to think, because we're not looking at our W right now. We're just going to leave our trifinance friend alone for a second. Just focus on inside the parenthesis. So now, what 2 numbers multiplied together will give me 25 and add together to give me a negative 10? No, you're not, Cheryl. Let's just take our time with that. Okay. So Yo's got negative 5, Nate, negative 5. Okay, we got 5 times 5, but that would give us a positive 10, Janice. So that means both of them will have to be negative. There you go. Negative 5 times negative 5, negative 5, negative 5 plus negative 5, negative 5, negative 5, negative 5, negative 5. Marion $sign. It's okay. Why not use the area model instead? Because I'm using this one instead. Thank you. Right, okay, so 2 negatives is a positive. There you go, Nate. There you go. So if we have negative 5 times negative 5, so negative 5 times negative 5, a negative times a negative gives me a positive. A negative plus a negative keeps it as a negative. So since my leading coefficient is 1, I can just go right ahead and split my 2 w's, and then we'll have our minus 5 and our minus 5. Now if you notice, both parentheses are exactly the same. So this is what Malin keeps typing in over and over again. Malin, we see you. Because this is what I do here. We break concepts down, like all the way down. So if this is too slow for you, hey, I appreciate you coming on in. But we're really dealing with like people that are just like, 1, definitely afraid of math, or 2, that are just like trying to revise and remember. Okay? All right. What a is greater than 1? We will see. So now here we're going to have our w minus 5 squared, because since both parentheses are exactly the same, but don't forget about the trifling as friend. We got to bring that w on down. This will be your answer. Okay, not a problem. I appreciate it. Yeah, because usually, like, there's a lot of other people that'll just answer a question, just keep running. Like, whoever answers first gets the attention. But then everyone else is like, this went way too fast. So I'm like the anti. We calm it down. You know, people that are probably taking their GEDs or ASVAB, or if they're taking the ACCUPLACER, or even if they're just currently taking a college algebra class and they finally get someone that's going to like slow it down and answer their questions as best they can, this is the live for you. Okay? So how did you get 5? Sure. Because 5 times 5 gives me 25, right? But I need 2 numbers that multiply to get my 25, and the same 2 numbers to add together to get my negative 10. So if we did 5 times 5, we can get the 25, but 5 plus 5 doesn't give me negative 10. So we had to use the rules of double negatives. So negative times a negative gives me a positive, and a negative plus a negative keeps with a negative. Okay. To 9th graders? Okay. Step by step. That's all it is. Well, math is probably for you. You just haven't been presented with it in a situation where you felt comfortable enough to ask questions. All right. So let's see. If I go, because I got a whole lot of examples, guys. But see, my thing is, we don't have to be experts. We just have to follow the steps and feel comfortable with the steps. Okay, so let's see how we're doing with tapping. Let's get up to 10. What are we doing? There's over 167 of us, 173 of us. 171. So if everyone does like a mad tap right now for at least a good 2 minutes, let's go. We'll do a mad tap. Everyone does a mad tap. You know, strengthening up our thumbs. Yes, algebra is fun. That's how the school taught me. Yep. But we're going to take it step by step, Chris. You're going to be all right. Back to phys. Yep, it does for displacement. Yes, there we go. Displacement, velocity, and acceleration. So these are the foundations. Like, it's never a one and done. Okay, it's never a one and done. What grade do I instruct? I used to teach high school, but now I'm an online math tutor for the last going on 6 years. So my thumb hurts. I'm sorry, Pete. We're almost done. We're almost done. Like 7:28 my time, and then we'll be done. Need for different. Exactly. What was that? C dot love. All right, and stop. There we go. Okay. Can you also factor by the FOIL method? Now, FOIL method happens when you're multiplying binomials. Okay, that's when you use the FOIL method. Right now, when you're factoring is the opposite, or basically the inverse of multiplying. Okay, it's almost like Jeopardy. Jeopardy, your answer is always in a question, right? So you're basically going the opposite, the reverse of it. So it's like you're trying to find what the original equation will be before you multiply. Okay? Yep, we're good. We're awesome. So now we're going to get going. Yep, so you're basically redoing. Exactly. That's it. Okay, so factor is the opposite of FOIL method. Yep. Now, when they say for you to factor, there you go. Okay? Close. Okay, Jung. Close. There you go, Robert. Okay? Struggle with negatives and positives. And that's fine, because we're going to address it. There you go, Caitlin. All right? All right? Nice joke. No! Yes. Okay, so, Coach, we got -2. All right? Don't be sad. All right? Anytime you're leading coefficient, okay, your highest degree is to the second power. So we know we're going to be factoring into 2 parentheses. But if you look and your leading coefficient is negative, deal with the negative. Okay, I know the phrase is kill 2 birds with 1 stone, which is kind of harsh, but it will make your life so much easier. So we're going to factor out the -2. Not -2x, just the -2. What's going inside the parenthesis when we factor out the -2? Make sure you divide by -2, Robert. There's another Robert in here. Okay. There you go, Robert. There it is. All right. Why are you saying letter C? Okay. So in order for you to figure out what goes inside the parenthesis, you're dividing the original by your GCF. So it's going to look like this. -2x squared divided by -2. -2 divided by -2 gives me a 1. So that x squared can come on down. The 1 is understood to be in front of it. If you put the 1 in front, that's fine. It's not going to hurt you. Now we got 14x divided by -2. Positive divided by a negative are always negative. Okay? Yeah, don't forget the square, Nate. So that's why you got your -4. There you go. I mean, -7. There it is. So 14x divided by -2 gives me -7x. Now, we have a negative divided by a negative. When the signs are the same, that means your answer is going to be positive. And yes, hey, Austin, 24 divided by 2, that will give us our 12. Okay. Okay. Why is that, Chris? What's going on? And plus, I think if you got you weren't here yesterday for the GCF thing, but you can go to kind of help you out. you can go here. All my replays, free subscription. I'm not bougie yet. So you can go here to look at the replays. I definitely uploaded all the replays today. Okay. All right. Been an RN. Well, guess what, Gigi? I mean, you still can do it. You're not dead. So obviously you got a brain, so you can do this. Come on. Give yourself some credit. It's never exactly Glow. Exactly. It's never too late. Please. All right. So after we divided the original by the GCF, we're going to leave our trifling behind friend alone. So now we're going to work with what's inside the parenthesis. My leading coefficient is a 1. My highest degree is a 2. So that brings the alarm that I can split my variable, which is my x's, in both parentheses. Okay. Now, this is the hard part. Because if multiplication is not your jam, that's what we got to make the adjustment to. So this is your a, which is in front of your x squared. This is your c, which is your constant. When you multiply those two, that will give you a 12. Then you're going to rewrite your b, which is the middle, which is a -7. So now this is the part that gets you. You need to think about what two numbers multiply together to give me a 12, and the same two numbers add together to give me a -7. So if multiplication is not your jam, it's going to need to be. Because multiplication, if you know how to multiply, trust and believe, you can do almost any level of math. Because all it is fast addition. That's all it is. Okay? Now, but if you have one of my handy dandy notebooks called the Ultimate Notebook, I want to know two numbers multiplied to give me 12. Well, in the back of my notebook, I have what's called the factor sheet. So I'm looking up 12. I got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And I want to know what two numbers multiply will give me a 12, but add together to give me a -7. So if I look at my numbers, which one will give me a 7, and I can play around with the signs? The 3 and the 4. There we go. So if we have 3 here or 4 here, it's interchangeable, so it doesn't have to be exactly the same, but we got to get the signage. Now, if I just make 4 negative, which I see a couple people have, and I add, if I multiply -4 times 3, that's going to give me a -12. Plus, -4 plus 3 gives me a -1. We want a -7. So we are going to have to make both of them negative, right? So if we have -4 times -3, a negative times a negative gives me a positive, and a -4 plus a -3, both of them are negative, so I add them together to give me my 7 and keep the signage. Okay. So like if you get stuck, okay, again, this is also in my notebook. So if I am adding and I have two negatives, my answer is going to stay a negative. For example, -5 plus -14, that gives me a -19. Okay? When the signs are different, depending on which number is bigger, you're going to keep the sign of which is larger. So say, for example, I have 13 plus -6. 13 is bigger than -6, or 13 is bigger than 6. I'm not worried about the signs right now. 13 is bigger than 6. When the signs are different, you're subtracting. And then you're taking the signage of the largest number. So think of it this way. You got $13, you spent 6. Guess what? You have $7 left. And if it was flipped the other way around, negative 21 plus 11, so I'm short or I owe somebody $21. I gave them $11. Guess what? I still owe them $10. They're going to break my legs, right? So, all because of $10. All right. Okay. Later algebra. You're going to need... Oh, yes, Robert. Preach on it. Okay. All right. Okay. So now we have our -3 and our -4. What's missing? I must be from New Jersey. Nah, Philly. We kind of run in the same circles sometimes. Yes, don't forget about the trifinite friend. Okay, got to bring that bad boy down. Okay, so then this is your factor. Okay. Second guess. Yeah. All right. 12 positive, yes. Oof. I haven't been home in forever because probably all the places that I know probably closed down since COVID. Best place for me to get a Philly cheesesteak is Larry's near St. Joe's University. But if you want like a big mama jama, like you're just going to be like huge and full, I don't even know if Mama's is still there. But that was like the best cheesesteak, especially when you go to college and you're broke. That's when cheesesteaks were only $6. None of this $12 garbage. All right. So, this, let's see. All right. For the original. Oh, Eve. Niece, this, you can do it. It's okay. And I think it's because of multiplication. All right. Let me leave you guys alone with this one. Okay. And I'm going to try, well, I'm going to try to leave the second one. I think you guys can see. Yeah. Okay. Hello, Queen. How are you? Oh, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it. Okay. Well, you're going to have to wait for a moment, and I'll explain the steps. Okay. All right. So do the whole thing. What would my final answer be? Okay. I know. It's been a minute, right? Yes. How are you, sir? It's always the male cat. Just want to see where his mom's at. Where do we use this kind of math in everyday life? Look, here we go. You got up this morning, right? So just because it's not a equation, there's stuff that you're doing that's part of apps. That is factoring. That is dealing with squares, dealing with cubes, dealing with fourths. Now, I know it's not spelling out like every day like cat is spelled C-A-T. Gotcha. But because of some of those components, that's why we have the internet. That's why we have cell phones that's not attached to cords or walls. That's why we have different designs of buildings instead of every house looking exactly the same. That's why we have different patterns with outfits. That's why we have different shoes. That's why we have watches that can read your pulse, check how many steps you got, and all those shenanigans. Now, for me, I always say to my students, I don't know what you're going to do with your life. Because, we're here on TikTok. I don't know what you do. So, based on, I'd rather get you a situation where you actually know how to do these items versus be thrown into a situation and say, I have never seen this a day in my life, right? And then on top of it, a lot of interviewers are starting to use algebra as part of their interview process. I have one of my former students, which I mentioned here before, she got the receptionist job, by the way. She was going for a receptionist job and she had algebra problems on her interview process. This is just a way to weed people out. Yes. Okay. So that's all. Yeah, Pete, I appreciate the please. Okay, it's coming. All right. Okay. In carpentry, parts of it does, and especially you have to pass your maybe not carpentry. What's it called? The IBEW. They have like some kind of assessment as well. All right. So, okay, here we go. Ready? So what are your answers? Are you just waiting for me to do it? Okay. Stop lying to the public. Oh, okay. No, we're all right, Jason. Well, I appreciate that. Okay. What do we got for answers? What are we thinking? So Pablo's saying negative x times x plus 2 and x minus 8. Awesome. So Pablo, you don't have to put the stars representing the multiplication in between the parentheses. It's already taken care of with the parentheses. All right. Okay, that's not right. Okay, let's see what we got. We'll put up what we got. Okay. No, you won't leave. You typed yours? I don't see it. Yeah, I'm not seeing any of them. I guess TikTok. TikTok's been acting weird to me all day. Okay. Okay, you're not sure where to begin, avocado? Okay. Gotcha. All right, so you have negative x squared. Okay, so we're going to factor out a negative x. Caitlin's saying negative x and x plus 2, x minus 8. Okay. So we have x and x plus 8 and x minus 2, says Germs. The cube is throwing you off, Nate. Okay. So relevant to many fields. Okay. anyone else? Okay, keep track of signs. Okay, you're lost? Not a problem. Okay. Math class is so long. Okay, not a problem. All right, let's break it down. First off, our leading coefficient is negative. Okay, so we're definitely going to need to factor out a negative. Now, what's assumed to be in front of this x is a 1. That's a 6. And that's a 16. So the only thing that 1, 6, and 16 have in common is a 1 when I'm thinking of their factors. Okay? So, but here I have x cubed, so think of it like 3 x's are here. X squared, there's like 2 x's there, and an x. So they all have at least 1 x in common. So we're going to factor out the negative x. Okay, so that x is going to be negative. All right. So what goes inside of its parenthesis is if I have a negative 1 divided by negative 1, negative divided by negative gives me a positive. And if I have x to the third divided by x to the first, okay, or if you think of it this way, you got 3 x's here, you pull 1 out, that means you got 2 x's left. So now you have a positive 6 divided by a negative 1. Not to insult your intelligence, what's positive 6 divided by negative 1? Positive 6 divided by negative 1. There we go. Okay, we got some 6's, but they should be negative. Good. Negative 6. Negative 6. Good. Not negative 3, because it's 6 divided by 1. Negative 1. So we got our negative 6. There's 2 x's here. We pulled 1 x out. So that means there's 1 x that remains. Good, Caitlin. Good. All right, we got our negative 6. Good. There we go, Jason. There we go, Carol. We got Nyla. Good. Now, positive 16 divided by negative 1. Not to insult your intelligence, but what's 16 divided by negative 1? Okay, Carol's negative 16, Austin negative 16, Nyla negative 16, Queen negative 16, Nurse E negative 16, Nate negative 16, Gentleberry negative 16, Cat negative 16, Jason negative 16, the servant negative, not 15, division, not subtraction. So it'll be negative 16. There you go, you corrected. Good. Him negative 16. I know the signs. I know. Okay. J Baron negative 16. Helm negative 16. Shaw negative 16. Now, we had 1x. We pulled 1x out. So that means there's no x's left. So this is what we're working with inside the parenthesis. So what's happening is my leading coefficient is a positive 1. My highest degree is a 2. So I can go ahead and split my variable, which is my x's. I split from my x's, but we're going to split these x's. Okay. All right. So now, like that? I know, right? So now this is where it's going to get that we have to get our multiplication down. So we're going to have our AC. A is the one that's in front of the x squared. C is your constant, which is negative 16. Our B is the coefficient of the x, which is negative 6. So now, here we go. We need to think of, oh, sorry, shaking my phone. We need to think of what two numbers multiply to give me negative 16, and those same two numbers add to give me a negative 6. What are those two factors? Okay. YS. How's it doing? You're cooling? As usual. Okay. So I'm seeing 2 and 8. I'm seeing negative 8 and 2, negative 8 and 2 with cat, negative 8 and 2 with CB. I'm saying negative 8 and 2, negative 8 and 2, 2. Okay, negative 8 and 2, negative 2 and negative 8, negative 8 and 2, negative 8 and 2 with nurse E. This method is confusing because what we're doing is we're basically taking it all the way down. Okay, so negative 8 and 2, negative 8 and 2, negative 8 and 2. All right, okay. So we have our negative 8 and our positive 2. So all we have to do is bring down our negative 8 and our plus 2. And then what's missing is our trifling friend, which is a negative x. Okay, this is like Algebra 2. Vanessa, Algebra 2. And then I'm the teacher that's going to say to you, yes, this is. Can you explain which one was... Can I explain which one was positive? Okay, thanks, ma'am. What do you mean, avocado? Why one was positive? Oh, why one of these is positive? Well, a negative times a positive gives me a negative. So the rule of multiplication. Here we go. Okay, handy dandy notebook. When you're dealing with multiplying and dividing, when the signs are the same, okay, when the signs are the same, your answer is always going to be addition. It's always going to be positive. When the signs are different, regardless if you're multiplying or dividing, your answer is always going to be negative. Okay, so we have to understand those rules of integers. Only in math, two negative things can give you something positive. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yeah, this is the notebook that I created for my students because I got tired of them with the packets and them just saying, I'm like, okay, so what does your note say? And they just do that, And I'm like, well, you have all these packets, you have all these notes, and you don't have anything. So this is one of my handy dandy notebooks, my ultimate math notebook. So it's like 100 pages of the dots as well as the grid side. We're just starting book number 5. So this is the stuff that we did yesterday with AC method. Okay, going on both sides. But then in the back, I give you this resource page. So you get a factor sheets, which goes from 1 to 200. Okay, because we're dealing with larger numbers. Okay, that multiplication chart that's usually in the back of the composition books. Students nowadays don't know how to use it. They don't know how to read it. So then you have your integers. You have the most used words and word problems to translate them from addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, as well as equals and inequalities. You also have these. They look familiar. Linear and quadratic equations. So we're looking at our slope, equation of the line, quadratic equations, quadratic formula. Okay, talk a little bit about the discriminant. Also, order of operations, not only in the US, but also internationally. Then you have your properties of exponents, a little bit of properties of quadrilaterals, as well as your volume and surface area. If you're dealing with circles and arc lengths and area of the sector, as well as the basic with the area and perimeter of your circles, of your parallelograms, rectangles, all of them are in there. And in addition to that, you have your Pythagorean theorem, you have your SOHCAHTOA. A little bit older people will get like the, especially pre-calc, will get your trig identities, and then the unit circle, which you'll probably see either late in Algebra 2 and definitely in pre-calculus. Okay, so yeah, I try to put all those rules in there. The factor sheet helps a lot of students, and after you look at it so many times, eventually you won't even need the factor sheet. You'll be able to understand the factors. You just have to play around with the signage. All right? Okay. Okay, I can't explain things and read comments at the same time. So what was your question? I'm not getting all the comments, guys, because you said, Mom, please don't forget to answer me. I don't see a question. I just scrolled all the way to the top, but I don't see a question. I just saw -2, -8. That's all I've seen. Okay. So I think I got... Does the placement of -8 and 2 matter? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because since you're dealing with multiplication, these two can be flipped. Okay, that's perfectly fine. No trick so much. Why it was positive? Why is what positive? Why is the 2 positive? Because you have to have different signs. When you have different signs, when you multiply, you get a negative answer. Backwards foiling? Yep, that's basically what it is. It's factoring. Is it because 2 goes into -16, 8x, so it gives you -8? What? Hold on. Is it because 2 goes into negative? So it's because it's not so much going into, it's basically multiplication. So when the signs are different, you're always going to get a negative answer. And then when we add these two together, it has to equal the -6. So it has to be the same numbers multiplied to give me this and add together to give me this. So it has to satisfy both of these in order for it to go into our factor. Okay. Okay, so this is called the Ultimate Math Notebook. Like I said, I designed it. You can go here to get yours, because I can't say anything more. All right, let's see if this helps. So like my actual notebooks, you can. We just started on this one. This is notebook number 5. If you want to buy my notes, you can. It's called Audrey's Notes. Okay, and I take all my notes from all of my lives, and I just compiled it into books. So I just uploaded book number 4. And what happens in each topic, you get a QR code. And if you scan that QR code, it'll take you directly to the live that's associated with the problem. So say this one was Pythagorean theorem. All you have to do is just scan the code and it'll take you directly to the live. So then you can use it for mediation, you can use it for enrichment, all that. So right now, book 4 isn't completely out because I just uploaded it today. I have to wait 3 days. Okay. Yep. And you can buy my notebooks here. Okay, I can't flip over to TikTok to see private messages. It has to wait until after the live. Okay, and Michael, yep. So all I have to do, because we can't even spell out the name anymore. So if you go there, it'll take you. That's where all my private bookstore is. Okay. Okay. This is why school didn't go well with me, to make 0 sense to me yet. I'm successful. All right, excellent. Nope, we just started with number 5. Okay. So if you're into tutoring, just message me and I'll say that. Someone turn on audio or take the one which reads comments to you. Huh. That would be interesting. Yep, so the first one, Codner. Yeah. It's going to be a while. It's not until after the live. That's the only time I can go onto my personal DMs. All right. Okay. All right. Yep, and I'm developing a workbook as we speak. Okay, what time do I go live? Normally I go live at 7 p.m. On weekends, so Saturdays and Sundays, I go at 7 p.m. On Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Fridays, I go, Monday, Tuesday, Thursdays, I go at 1 p.m. Fridays, I go at 1 p.m. But on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, I'm on at 9:30 p.m. as well. So yeah, so I do some in the afternoons and then some in the evenings. And if you click on my picture, you'll actually see my schedule pinned. Okay, yep, Sundays, yep. I'm 7 days a week, and I tutor 7 days a week. So I tutor all throughout the U.S., including Alaska and Puerto Rico. And I just got Puerto Rico yesterday, so I can say that now. I used to do Nairobi, Kenya, and Cairo, Egypt. So, yeah. And this is the summer, so I'm kind of surprised that I got this far. I have to go online to get the books. Yes, you do. Yes, I'm not on TikTok Shop anymore. Yeah, I don't like it. Okay. When do I message back? As soon as I'm done with this live, I'll message back. So in the next 24 minutes, if I can get through this live, and if I can get more than 30 likes, that will be amazeballs. So let's do a mad tap so I can get myself together. For those asking about the real-life application of factoring, there are plenty. We can use this to predict when and where our objects of flight lands. Yes, we can. Okay, awesome, Jason. I got you. So if any of you guys are currently in a college algebra class, or maybe you're taking intermediate math classes at a local community college, or you're getting yourself ready for your GED or the ASVAB, or even the ACCUPLACER. Maybe you just graduated from school and you're like, oh God, I totally forgot everything. Just reach out because I'm currently, and then some people are doing the TEAS test as well. So to help out with all the algebra components with that, if you need assistance, do not just sit there and say, I need assistance, because you're just talking to yourself. If you need a tutor, reach out. Okay. So even if you don't want me and you want someone else, maybe you have like a younger sibling or younger kids that you feel that needs tutoring, you can reach out to me and just ask, and I can guide you into the right direction, because I know a lot of great tutors. If you're thinking about doing anything advanced, Robert is here. Robert is like my go-to guy for calculus. So AP statistics, if you're doing statistics for nursing, you can reach out to Robert as well. If you want AP Calc AB or Calc BC, like that's his main thing. So make sure you reach out to Robert. He's on Main Street Math Tutoring. He's in the chat right now. And if anything, are you able to go live now, Robert? Did you get enough people? Or do we need some more followers? Don't marry a Martian. 8 more followers. All right, so let's make it happen. There's 92 of us in here. If you guys can make sure you go and follow Robert. He's on Main Street Math Tutoring. You know, he knows his stuff. So if you got some people in here that's advanced, that want to learn it, or even just follow it just in case someone ever asks you, you know, just go ahead and follow Robert. Yep, already following. Awesome. Okay. On graphs, stretch, compress. Oh, I already did that. You know what you can do? Go here. Okay, go here. Go here. And look, it was late June is when I did it. Because I did do stretch and compress and all of that. Okay. 1 to go. All right, go ahead, sign up. One more. Yeah, not a problem. Yep. So that's where you guys go for like all of my replays. Okay, all of my replays go here. Okay, buying the books, go here. Don't go here. Go here. All right. Okay, please do. All right, did you get it? Did you get it, Robert? Did you get it? So these equations, yes, they're definitely graphable. Definitely graphable. All right, so let's get back to it, just to do it. Wait, hold on. I'll make sure I'm not repeating myself. Okay. You know. Okay. Give that one a try. Just want to put that there so I can reach this. Yay! Now go find your people. Go and attract your people. As you can see, they are waiting for you, Robert. Good job. See? I wasn't going to lie to you, Robert. I haven't started yet. I'm about to start now. Okay, perfect. So it's the common factor. Yeah, I thought it was late. You kind of. You know, but we're all right. We'll be able to do this. Good. then set up 2. I feel like I'm in a time warp because there's a conversation going on and I'm like, I see Lisa saying it's the common factor. And I'm like, what's the common factor? And I'm like, okay, let me scroll to see where Lisa's conversation started. And I don't see it. 3. Thank you, Lisa. Because I'm like, I think TikTok is playing with my emotions. Okay. So we have 3, we have 24, and we have 12. Okay, so we're looking to see which factors that they have in common. So I think some people are getting a little confused with that part. So say with the 3 times table, factors of 3 is 1 and 3. For 24, factors of 24 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12. Yes. And no, 24. There's something else. There's something else. And then for the 12 times table, factors will be in 1. I should just show my sheet, right? 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. So when we see this, this is what we're talking about, the greatest common factor. Don't get it confused with the least common multiple. You're not doing the multiplication table for each of them. You're seeing where will they lie in what factors. So all 3 of them have 3 in common. That's your GCF, your greatest common factor. Okay? That's where that 3 is coming from. So now, we're going to divide the original by our GCF. So 3x squared divided by 3 will give me 1x squared, or just simply x squared. Negative 24x divided by 3. A negative divided by a positive, the signs are opposite, so my answer should be negative. But 24 divided by 3, that gives me good 8, and don't forget our x. So now we have 12 divided by 3. 12 divided by 3, they're both positive, so it'll be a positive 4. Okay. So coach thinks it's another difference of 2 squares. It might be. Let's see. All right. So if we think my A, and every time I say A, B, and C, this is what I mean. My A squared plus my BX plus my C. The A is always in front of your x squared. Your B is the coefficient for the x, and the C is your constant. So if you multiply your A and your C, that means I'm multiplying 1 and 4. 1 times 4 gives me 4. Then I'm just going to rewrite my B. My B is negative 8. So now all we have to do is think what 2 numbers multiply will give me 4, and add will give me negative 8. Okay. So coach is saying, no, it's not. Michael is thinking. Haha, Pog is saying the quadratic formula. Okay. Kai is saying quadratic formula. Okay. Even if some of you guys are a little confused, so 2 numbers multiplied to give me 4. So the only things that can give me 4 is 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. If I add 1 and 4, I get 5. If I add 2 and 2, I get 4. But I'm looking for a -8. That's not possible. Okay? That's not possible. So something's going on. We have our GCF, and if they just say factor completely, and you look at your answer choices and you see this, go ahead and click it, bubble it, move on. But if they're saying we want the solutions, that's when we're really going to get into the quadratic formula. Because if you really stop and think about it, the quadratic formula is really kind of hitting on the solving, because you're trying to find what x equals. Because quadratic formula, if I may, I'm going to put it over here. It starts off at x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay. So it's set up that you're trying to solve what x is. We're not solving. We're just simplifying. So if they say to factor completely, that's your answer. That's your answer. It's not so much prime. Like if this 3 wasn't there and my original was the x squared minus 8x plus 4, if that was my original, yes, that would be prime. But since we were able to factor a 3 out for our GCF, this is just completely factored. Okay. I can, but I'm not doing rational expressions tonight. And especially, I did rational expressions already. And where you can go here, because all my lives are there. And look up here and subscribe. Okay, so go here and subscribe. Okay. Right? I know. Okay. So sometimes when we get so caught up, and there's times it's like, okay, I got to simplify, I got to break this down, I got to do that. And sometimes it's just like, do a part of it and then look at your answer choices. And if you notice they stop right here, boom, that's your answer. That's it. Okay? Now, if you see any radicals in there, that's not being factored completely. That's solving. Okay, that's solving. And since we don't have an equal sign associated with it, we're not solving. We're just simplifying. All right? I know. We're always told that we have to finish our plates. We're always told that we have to finish before we go into something else. We're always told that we have to finish. And it's hard for us now that we know that we don't have to finish in order to get our answers. And it feels weird. It feels dirty. Right? All right. Okay, so let's see if we can tap. Let's get to tap to 40. Let's get to 40. Because if we can get to 50, that would be amazing. Because I'm not doing a 2-hour extravaganza. because it seems like every time I download our lives, it takes me like 6 hours to down. That's how long it took me to download just one live. And that was this morning. Insane. Okay. Factor in Z. Factor in sleep. Okay, little challenge problem. Why is it not -4? Because 12 is positive and their 3 is positive. A positive divided by a positive gives me a positive. So when they're two the same, you're welcome. Yep. So when it's two the same, it'll still be positive. All right, almost there. They're like, oh, we're tapping away. I believe you. And there's 96 of us. To have two different variables. Yes. This is a little challenge problem. All right, so given x plus 4 is a factor of 2x squared plus 11x plus 2m, what is the value of m? So we already know. We kind of did something like this. Completely? Okay. You don't know? Okay. I know. I'm not being very fair. So, let's think this through. They gave us one of our factors. So, it'll be good for us to find the other factor. And I know I'm digging. Remember this? And I know a lot of people are going to be like, no, I wasn't here for that. And I'm like, that's understandable. Okay, so it could be that long division Calc teachers can't answer. Okay, we can do that long division, or we can do our synthetic division, which I know a lot of people. Like we keep saying, when you factor, it's like doing multiplication. It's doing like the inverse of multiplication. So why not see if we can do synthetic division, since we already know one of our factors. So for those that are not sure, I'm going to walk you through. For those that they think they can do it, just ignore me and just go ahead and give it a try. So since they gave us one of our factors, factors are normally like this: x minus h. Okay? But we have a plus 4, not a minus a number. So in order for a minus to change to a plus, that means we're dealing with a negative number. So we're dealing with a negative 4. That's where this came from. Okay? So when you're doing synthetic division, you always do opposite what you see when it comes to the divisor. So it was a plus 4, we did the opposite, which was minus 4. Now, when it comes here, the coefficients is representing each of the terms. The 2 is representing the x squareds. The 11 is representing the x's. And this 2 times something is representing our constant. So the way that we do synthetic division, we always bring down the first term. Then we multiply the divisor with this number. What's negative 4 times 2? So Heather, if it was originally x minus 4, that means you will have a positive 4 in this spot. Okay, good. So negative 4 times 2, we got negative 8 straight across the board. Good. Now that answer of negative 8 is going underneath the next term. So you multiply, you put it over to the next term, and then we're going to add these two together. There we go. So what's 11 plus negative 8? Awesome, I just have to look up. So 11 plus negative 8, that's going to be our 3's. Good. So I'm going to put this 3 right here. So now I'm going to repeat the process. Negative 4 times 3 gives me what? Good, Kaya. Kaya. I keep switching your name up every time. Have you noticed that? I'm waiting for you to correct me. All right, so Coach said negative 12. Baby! Babies, kids. Negative 12, good. Now, don't forget, a negative times a positive will give me a negative carry. All right, Austin with negative 12. Heather with the negative 12. Carrie switched it up for me. Thank you. Negative 12. Elizabeth, that's going to be a... There we go, Elizabeth. There we go. Negative 12. And LaServa and negative 12. Awesome. So that answer of negative 12... Wrong color, sorry. Is going right here. So in order for us to get our factors... Notice when we were doing our factors before, let me flip for a second. We always had 2 parentheses, okay? Even this was considered like 2 parentheses. So we don't want to have anything extra, okay? We want to get 2 parentheses. So basically, We want this to be an answer of 0. Okay, if we add them together, that's what we're looking for. I don't know what's going on with this green. So we're trying to say 2 times something. If I add it with my negative 12, I'm going to get a 0 as a result. Kaya. Okay. Kai. Got it. Thank you. All right. So in order for me to get 0, good. Heather with 6, Coach 6, Austin 6, Elizabeth 6. Yes. So if we made that into a 6, that will give me 2 times 6, which is 12. And 12 plus a negative 12 will give me 0. So we don't need to know the factor. They're asking for what is the value of m. And you found it. M equals 6. Okay. So we're just looking for what happened here. Yep. Okay, got me. Good. Okay. Now, if it asked for what the factor was, because, sometimes there's like a 2-part question. Remember, if you started with x squared, this is basically your answer, but it's 1 degree less. So if we're looking for the factor, that means this is going to be a 2x. And my constant is going to be plus 3. Okay, so if they're looking for what is the other factor, it's basically looking at here. It's always going to be 1 less, so this would be my x, this will be my constant, and this was going to be my remainder. But we don't want a remainder because we wanted the factors. Right, because since we just wanted, Coach, to answer your question, since we didn't want to have a remainder, okay, because we're not just doing synthetic division, we're doing it to find our factors. And that needs to be in 2 terms, not 3. Because we already had our binomial up here, so we needed a binomial down here. So if we made that remainder 0, then we wouldn't have to worry about doing the r or the something over the divisor. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm going over my time, but we definitely need to get 50K. So get to tapping. I'm so aggressive now. I'm just like, ugh. Maybe because it's so hot in my house and I haven't eaten yet. So I'm just like, oh, yeah. So given x plus 3 is a factor of negative x squared plus 4x plus 21, what is the leading coefficient and what is or are the remaining factor or factors? Yep, of the given polynomial. Do we have to do what we just did? Sorta, kinda. So Kai is saying -1, Pog is saying negative ax squared. Okay, and then also find my other factor. Okay, no problem. So Aaron, oh, hey Aaron, how are you? So you're saying negative, so negative 18 minus 3? So leading coefficient's -1. Okay, no problem. But remember, I'm gonna upload the replay so you can see it. It may take me a minute. Depends on how quickly TikTok does it. Any other answers? Now remember, question mark is an answer. Okay. All right, so it looks like a lot of people agree that your leading coefficient, which I'm gonna write LC, so we're saying that our LC is a -1. Good. And we already know one of the factors, one of our parentheses, is going to be x plus 3. So how do we find the other factor? Ooh, so close. Okay. Okay, so we don't have a remainder. All right, excellent. So it kind of goes a little bit what we were saying earlier. If your leading coefficient is 1 or -1, we want to factor that out. So that means you're going to have x squared minus 4x minus 21. Okay, so basically you're dividing your original by the -1. So now let's focus inside the parenthesis. So let's see. What two numbers multiplied together will give me a -21 and add together to give me a -4? And Coach had it. No, Coach, you were right there. You were right there. Don't switch up your answers now. So you're saying a -7 and a +3, right? -7 times 3 gives me -21. -7 plus 3 gives me -4. The part that I said that was missing is you have your x squared minus, or sorry, not x squared, sorry, x minus 7 and x plus 3. Don't forget the trifling friend. Okay. Now, if you did it using synthetic division, all right, you probably just left it as is. You used your factor that they gave us. So that means you had a -3 here. Then you had a -1, a 4, and a 21. So this represented the x squared. This represented the x. And the 21 represented the constant. If you bring down your first number, -3 times -1 gives me a +3. And if we add them together, 4 plus 3 gives me 7. Then multiply -3 times 7, that gives me a -21. If I add those two together, I get a 0. So my answer is always 1 degree less. So this will be my x, this will be my constant, and this would have been my remainder. So you would have x plus 3 times -x plus 7. But if you factored out the -1 in that second parenthesis, it would have been the -1, x plus 3, x minus 7. Either way, you will get the same answer. That's what you got? So where did the x plus 3? So for the synthetic division, it's always opposite what you see. So if you see x plus 3, that means you're dealing with a -3. That's where that plus 3 went through. Factor out that negative. Yes. Do that way first. Okay. So now, yes, I had a feeling when I saw 18, I was like, I think we're doing some adding there. It's okay. So you know how to do it 2 different ways. You can just do it with the AC method, or you can do it with synthetic. If anytime they give you a factor, do the synthetic division. But try to always, but see, here's my thing. When you see your answer and you look at the answer choices and you notice there's a -1, where did it go? So this is just like a problem that I saw. Okay, so here was like all our answer choices. But if we factored out that -1, we would have gotten B. Okay, so it's like you can do all the solving, get to a point, and then check with your answer choices to see which one works. Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, I am good to go. I know, Poppy. I know. Being summoned. All right, so that's what completing the square. Trust me, I know, guys, when we do these things, there are multiple ways of getting the same things. I love that other people are making suggestions. Oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. Yeah. Let's just try to keep it simple. So if we just keep things nice and easy and simple, you'll be able to understand the process. And I know sometimes people are like, oh, I know how to do math. Congratulations. But sometimes there are some people that's overcoming that fear. So we have to take things slow. That's what we do over here. If it's too slow, go ahead. You can leave. Thank you so much for stopping by. But if anything, like I said, you have this. We have our handy dandy notebook with all the resources in the very back of the book as well. Then we also have Audrey's notes if you want copies of my notes. Like I said, we just finished book number 4 and I just put it through the A word. So once that kind of gets the official go ahead, I just go ahead and put it up there. It usually takes about a good 3 days. And if anyone is interested in any courses, I will be checking my messages right after this live. I can't wait to see what the frantic messages are. Okay, do I do integrals? I do not, but I know Robert does. I mean, Robert's been putting out a couple limits type questions on his things, but I can't wait. So again, not a problem. Thank you guys so much for like stopping in and participating. And I know things, you're probably going to see things that you haven't seen since, forever. Or if you have seen it, you didn't understand it back then. And I know like when things is a little stepping out of your comfort zone, people get scared and it's either you fight or you flight. And a lot of you guys stayed for the fight, and I'm so proud of you. Okay, because there was 100 and some odd people, now we got 43. So that tells me, that speaks a lot of your character. And I love that. All right, I love that. So we are going to continue on with factoring. I think we're going to be doing grouping tomorrow. And again, I'm on at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I will be still selling my wares and just sitting here selling myself. So again, private tutoring, it could be 1-to-1, it could be a small group. So like if you're taking a class through a community college, or you're currently taking a class and it's like you and your best friend and you're just like both of us are lost, then we can do a group rate. Okay, so that's possible. And don't forget, I still have people that volunteered or actually donated for supporting students. So I still have a couple of those. So if you're worried about price, stop worrying about price. It's going to be a lot cheaper, especially for the summer. But when September 1st, or actually no, when August 1st hits, like everything is going to jump right back up. So take advantage of this now before school starts back up. Okay. If you need a self-paced course, I do have a self-paced course that either you can just get the course and work your stuff through and maybe just check in through email once in a while, Or you can get the course and you'll get 4 30-minute tutoring sessions. So one or the other, difference of like $50. So it's not too bad. So it consists of like some videos, you get some practice sheets, and there are a couple quizzes in there. And then stay tuned because I'm working on a math workbook for it. Because I love meeting people during our weekly course right now with the GED and ASVAB. But sometimes I know it's hard because everyone's schedule is all over the place. And I'm not blaming you, not at all, because I always knew that was going to happen. So I think having a workbook and then possibly doing like an office hour where you can ask questions, I think that will work so much better than like me trying to force you to fix into my time frame at 7 p.m. and stuff like that. But we'll figure it out. We're going to finish out our 12 weeks. We're going into week number 5. Can you believe it? So like next week, we should start thinking about signing up for our test. I'm dead serious. We should start thinking about signing up. And I'm working on new workbooks. Well, not workbooks, notebooks. Just to vamp it up a little bit. So be on the lookout for those. Okay? Doing a lot of stuff. You're welcome. I know. Yes. Good. Oh no. You do what you need to do, Robert, please. Because if you try to work around me, you're gonna go nuts. Just do what you need to do. And if people go to support, people go to support. It's okay. Okay? Shoot. We all can't service the 1% of the population. It's bound to happen. All right? Okay. Oh, Teresa, thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you, guys. Back and forth if I have to. I mean, look, we'll figure it out. It will be okay. And then, yeah. And then I'm working on something really, for me, it's something special. I'm actually going to dedicate it to my father that passed away soon to be 8 years, my God, in August. So be on the lookout, something really special. And it's special for me. It may not be special for everyone else, but it is going to be something special that can be helpful for a certain group of people. I know, keep it in suspense. Ready for calculus. Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for the likes. I greatly appreciate it. I am seriously, Jess, I did message you. I remember that, doing that. Just message me back and okay. That tutoring for ASVAB. Okay, got you. So, good evening. All right, everyone, have a great night. Okay, I'm going to check my messages. Let's see what's going on with that. If anything, this is what I'm going to have to do. I won't be able to, like I was able to do it tonight, but I know there's going to be some other nights that I have to cut it off in like an hour and a half. Yeah, because my body is just wearing out. That's the nicest way I can say it, you know? It's just wearing out. So I need as much rest as I can and to take it from there. All right. All right, everyone. Have a lovely evening. If you have questions about books, tutoring, courses, you know, I need to keep selling things, you know. I'm ahead right now, but I need to keep things going. So you might see me pop in and pop out. I don't know about tomorrow, but something's going to be happening with, you know, more videos on me and my wares. All right. So come back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Have a great night. Continue to be safe. Just because yesterday was 4th of July doesn't mean that people ran out of fireworks, if you know what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. See you guys. Have a great night. Love y'all.